What's going on, y'all? It's your man Vic, and I'm the House Son of Columbia. Hey, man, I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Today is Sunday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. I do not have on green, but don't you pinch me. All right. Now, what I want to talk about real quick is about becoming a homeowner at an early age. Me and my wife were out at a house about this past week, and a client of ours wanted to see this particular house. And as we were leaving, another agent pulled up, and she was looking at this same house for her client. And her client happened to be her 19-year-old granddaughter. And I found that pretty amazing, that her granddaughter at that early age was wanting to be a homeowner, because generally what you see in people, especially 19, that's the last thing on their mind. I know when I was 19, the last thing on my mind was home ownership. I was in the military, so responsibilities were on my mind. I had a son already at that time, so being responsible was sort of on my mind, but partying was on my mind. I think I probably was either in Iraq or something at the time, so just staying alive was also on my mind. But home ownership was the last thing, and I knew I was going to be moving around from year to year in the military and this and that, so I didn't want to own something. I didn't want to have that much responsibility. And that's generally what happens when you mention that to a child or kid, a young adult that age. But I want to start embedding that into our kids, our youth, and our community at an early age now. Think about it. If you're an entrepreneur right now and you saw your family as entrepreneurs when you were growing up, it wasn't such a scary venture or that much of a diversion from what is the norm for you, because that was your norm, to see people in your family as entrepreneurs. So you doing it was just second nature. When you had someone in your family talking to you about good credit, keeping good credit, making payments on time, it wasn't that much of a stretch for you to do that, because that's how you were taught. That's what you were embedded. That was what was embedded in you. So think about it. If we start teaching our kids in our homes, our family members, our youth, these things early, these things will become second nature. Unfortunately, they don't teach it in school about good credit and real estate, and that's a negative, but we can do it at home. So if you have someone right now in your family that's 19 years old, 20 years old, 21, 22, and they're renting, but they have a good job, they're working for the city, or they're working for Snyder, Westinghouse, Coke, Michelin, anything. They're working a job they've been on for a year or two. They have decent income. They have good credit. What's even better is if they have no credit, because now we can get them a secure credit card. I can help get their scores increased in no time. All right, all by getting them a secure credit card. Give it 60 to 90 days. I'll have them with good credit, able to be approved to purchase a home. If they have bad credit, that's fine. I can get that worked out too. Right now, we got a down payment assistance program for first-time home buyers, $6,000 or $15,000 to help them pay their down payment also. So if they become a homeowner now, they will have ownership in something. They have to live somewhere anyway, or they're already living somewhere, but they're renting. They don't own it. It's not theirs. They don't have all the rights to that property that the owner does. And they have definitely no financial gain to that property, right? For example, I had a client of mine about 3 years ago. I sold her first home. She bought, when we graduated, she graduated with me. A couple years later, she bought her first home. And she bought it for about $50,000. Now, was it probably when she bought her forever home? No. But at that time, was it the best thing for her? And was it something she thought was like the world? I bet it was, because she was only 20 years old. She bought that home and it was hers. She was happy about that. Let me tell you what happened. Maybe 6 or 7 years later, she's met her husband. They got married. She rented that house out to someone else for more than she was paying for her mortgage. So let's just say her mortgage was $500. She rented it out for $800 for years. Then she called me and said, Vic, I want to sell that house. In one day, I got that house sold for $75,000. Now, it's already $25,000 more than she bought it for. She was paying it off for 13 years, but somebody else is paying the mortgage, not her. And then she capitalized. She made about $30,000 or $35,000 after all the fees and all the things she had to pay. She made about $30,000 to $35,000 on that house, all from buying a house young. Now her and her husband went and bought another house in Georgia, and now she owns that home with her husband. I sold her husband's home as well, and his first home, and he also made money on that first home because he bought it young. So buying homes young is a great thing to do. Another thing that is good to do at a young age, if you're living with a roommate right now and you're both splitting rent or whatnot, that's a good idea. But what if you lived with somebody else and they were paying the mortgage? And here's what I mean. Buying a duplex, multifamily home. If you bought a duplex at $70,000, $75,000, right? Your first home. You live in one side, the mortgage is say $650. If that mortgage is $650, but you're renting the other side out for $750, now they're paying the mortgage, you're living scot-free, you're gaining all the financial gains to being a landlord and a homeowner at the same time. Then what you can do as being a homeowner.
Is you and your wife on a billboard?
No problem, man. Take care, brother. All right. But so you can be a homeowner, you living scot-free, and now what you can do is 5 years from now, when you decide you want to move, you can sell that property, or you can rent your other side out, and now you're making $750, just $1,500. You're only paying $650, and you're pocketing the rest. Doesn't that make sense? To be a homeowner early, to get multifamily homes, one of those type of things, and now you're benefiting financially from owning something versus being the one paying in to someone else benefiting. The other thing you can do is after you've been there for 10 years or so, that value is going to continue to increase and rise. Boom, you sell that property, and now somebody else has paid the mortgage for 10 years. You benefit financially. You're only paying the taxes. And then when you sell it, you also benefit from the proceeds of the sale, the extra money, the gain that comes from selling that property. And what happens a lot of times when you don't buy early, when you do buy at 35 or 40, generally you want that to be your forever home. So your first home is your forever home, and now you need to have a bigger budget because you want everything. When you start out as a starter home, you don't have to have everything, the sun and the moon and the stars. You just want to have a home you own, and then you can grow into that home or grow out of that home when you gain family and things like that, kids, wife, husband, whatever. But when your first home is your forever home, you are going to have more wants. You're going to have more needs, all those type of things. But if you have your first home, be a starter home, something small and quaint, something you can afford, now you can have an investment when you move on to a wife or a husband or kids, and you can rent that out, and then you can sell that and gain. And then your second home, when you're 25, you can rent that out and then sell that. And then when you get your forever home, now you got two investment vehicles that's paying for your forever home. I'm just trying to throw these jewels out here, man. If you need help or you have any questions about real estate, ask me about real estate at houseofcolumbia@gmail.com. Call me at 803-760-3151 or shoot me a text, and I got you, man. I'm always here to help. Free knowledge, free information. I'm dropping them jewels, man. It's your man, Vic. I am the House Son of Columbia. And as always, you guys have a great and blessed day. Holla back at your boy. Y'all be cool.